Good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Public Utilities for the City of Santa Rosa to order. If we may have a roll call, please.
Board Member Wright.
Here.
Board Member Mullen.
Here.
Board Member DeWitt.
Present.
Board Member Bartholow. Here. Board Member Badenfort.
Here.
Vice Chair Arnone.
Here.
And Chair Galvin.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all board members are present.
Thank you all for being here. Any statements of abstention by board members? Seeing none, we have no study session. We have the minutes for the November 6th meeting. So we'll now open it up for public comment on the minutes. If you wish to make a comment, please move to the podium. Seeing no one rise, the minutes will be approved and entered. We have no staff briefings. We have no consent items. We have 2 report items. So Director Burke.
Thank you, Chair Galvin and members of the board. Our first report item is a funding agreement between Santa Rosa Water and the State Water Resources Control Board and authorizing and designating representatives for the Park Royal Consolidation Project. And Candace Michael, our newly associate civil engineer, congratulations, will be presenting.
Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, Chair Galvin and members of the board. My name is Candace Michael, and I'm an associate civil engineer with Asset Management Team for Santa Rosa Water. Today, I'll be presenting on the funding agreement for the Park Royal Consolidation Project initiated by the State California Water Board. Excuse me. I'll be discussing the project background, the site location, the assistance request issued by the Water Board, a brief analysis of the project, and recommendations by the Water Department. The State Water Board monitors the water quality of private water systems throughout the state of California. Some of those private water systems have existing groundwater sources that exceed the state maximum contaminant levels of nitrates, arsenic, and PFAS. In 2021 and 2022, reported water quality samples from the Park Royal Mutual Water Company wells exceeded the maximum contaminant levels of arsenic. The Water Board issued a citation requiring the water system to increase their sampling and to submit a corrective action plan. A feasibility study was completed, and consolidating with the City of Santa Rosa water system was determined to be the best choice forward. The Park Royal water system is located on Hall Road, just over half a mile to the west of Fulton Road, and serves 27 parcels. The project is not located within the city limits and is outside of the urban growth boundary. This project includes extending a water main from Countryside Drive westerly down Hall Road and connecting to a newly constructed distribution system in the Park Royal neighborhood. Coordination with LAFCO will be completed as the project progresses, and the 27 water service connections will be permitted through a single utility certificate. The Water Board, under authority granted by Senate Bill 88, has issued a compliance order mandating that the Park Royal Mutual Water Company either enhance treatment, replace their existing wells, or consolidate with Santa Rosa Water to be provided with safe drinking water. Park Royal has decided to consolidate with the City of Santa Rosa. Proposition Grant 1 funding, Proposition Grant 1 funding has covered all planning costs up to now. We're at about 90% completion and will cover all future planning, design, construction, and connection costs. Assistance Request 7259 through the Water Board's Technical Assistance Program has provided assistance for the Park Royal consolidation by facilitating meetings with communities and regulatory agencies, including us, conducting community outreach, and providing funding application assistance, as well as hiring an engineering consulting firm to complete preliminary engineering project reports, 90% water distribution and connection plans and specifications, and CEQA documentation. Park Royal has just finished a project to replace their distribution system, which was funded under the Small Community Drought Relief Program. That project included the installation of 8-inch water mains, service connections, meter boxes, valves, and fire hydrants, all to city standard. The Park Royal Consolidation Project includes the connection of 27 parcels. All of these connections have been approved by the Water Board to be included in the funding application for reimbursement of planning, construction, and connection costs. Each property will benefit from safe domestic drinking water and sufficient water pressure for pressure and flow for fire protection. Excuse me. The next step in the consolidation process is for Santa Rosa Water to submit the funding application to the State Water Board for reimbursement of all costs related to the project. The Water Board requires approval from the Board of Public Utilities to carry out the consolidation project, enter into a funding agreement, and accept and expend funds for the consolidation project. It is recommended by the Water Department that the Board of Public Utilities by resolution authorize Santa Rosa Water to carry out the Park Royal Consolidation Project and to authorize the Director of Santa Rosa Water or designee to enter into the funding agreement with the State Water Resources Control Board, accept and expend state funds for the project, provide all assurance, certifications, and commitments in connection with the funding agreement, and to sign and approve any agreements, amendments, invoices, and requests for reimbursement. Thank you for your consideration. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much for the presentation. I'll open up for any board member questions or comments. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I'll move that the board by resolution authorize the Santa Rosa Water to carry out the Park Royale consolidation project and authorize the Director of Santa Rosa Water or designee to enter into a funding agreement with the State Water Resources Control Board and accept and extend state funds for the project, to provide all assurances, certifications, commitments in connection with the funding agreement, and to sign and approve any agreements, amendments, invoices, or requests for reimbursement related to the project or the funding agreement.
Second.
We have a motion by Board Member Wright, seconded by Board Member DeWitt. At this time, we'll open it up for public comment on item 8.1. If you wish to make a public comment, please move to the podium, and please state your name for the record.
Thank you, Chair. Janice Carmen, I don't understand why the public didn't get to speak about this unless it was supposed to be covered under agendas earlier, because it's my experience that the public gets to speak and then they bring it back to the board and then they make a motion. So that said, this was a short presentation to the point. It had many technical things in it. But my question is, because I was present for both the Finance Committee just around the time they were going to sign up for or make the agreement for the EFID, I'd like to know how much money this is costing. It's being referred to as a capital project, and there's no mention of how much this is costing, and what the taxpayers are having to burden on this. It sounds like things have been moving along on it, but this is a big thing to approve a capital project. And I see a few people in the audience here. I don't know if any of them are going to speak on this, but I would like to see how and what this money is about, rather than just experience of the presenter talking about the project. And it's a fairly good-sized project. Santa Rosa does need projects. They need economic development. But I'd like to see numbers. And I was also present at the finance meeting when they talked about the EIFT, when they started talking about other capital funding that didn't go through. So, I have two things going on here. One is that I think you voted without any public input today, and you think that you had it before, and currently I'm in meetings about the fact that there is so little public inclusion in almost anything, and it's very hard to follow the meetings. I do everything I can to follow every meeting and attend it and be present and try to speak to what the efforts are with the city. So I'm very disappointed to see this meeting right now, and it's probably on Zoom or on video, and there's nothing really, there's no meat to this as far as the public and the people that are probably financing this down the road available from that presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you. Just so the record's clear, we have not taken a vote. All we did was take a motion and a second to make sure we had one before opening it up to public comment. We appreciate your comments. Ms. Michael, would you like to respond?
Yes, thank you for your comment and your questions. This is, this capital project that's going to be managed by the City of Santa Rosa is actually a state mandated and a state-funded project. So all of the costs related to this project, including any soft cost, which is like city overhead, any planning costs, that's all going to be covered by the state of California through Proposition 1 funding, which I believe is there's state and federal funds involved in that. Oh, it's just state. I'm sorry. Thank you, Jennifer.
And there's no cost to our ratepayers, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Any other public comments? All right, we have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Board Member Wright?
Aye.
Board Member Mullen?
Aye.
Board Member DeWitt?
Yes.
Board Member Bartholow?
Aye.
Board Member Badenfort?
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnone?
Aye.
Chair Galvin?
Aye.
Okay, let the record reflect that the resolution passes unanimously.
Thank you again for the presentation. We'll now move to item 8.2. Director Burke.
Thank you, Chair Galvin and members of the board. Our second report item is a contract award professional services agreement with CDM Smith, Inc. for preparation of the Regional Water Reuse System Master Plan update. And Tanya Mukwitz, our water reuse engineer, will be making the presentation.
Good afternoon, Chair Galvin and members of the board. My name is Tanya Mokwitz, and I'm a water use engineer at Laguna Treatment Plant. And I'm here today in front of you to present Regional Water Use System Master Plan Update Project. So in today's presentation, I'll go over project background, I'll talk about the goals, I'll describe the project components, I'll touch on the schedule, I'll talk about the cost evaluation, I'll discuss the selection process, we'll talk about next steps, and finally, we'll provide recommendation. So let's start with the project background. As you're aware, our regional treatment plant is roughly 60 years old. It serves approximately 240,000 people and one of the largest and most complex systems in California. It produces 120 wet tons per day of biosolids and includes multiple farmlands and storage facilities. Our Title 22 reclaimed water system supplies treated water to geysers to produce energy and also to ag users for irrigation. Reclamation system includes expansive reclamation and geysers distribution lines, storage tank, and multiple storage ponds and pump stations. Aging infrastructure, evolving regulatory demands, and shifting operational priorities necessitate strategic response to ensure continued reliability, safety, and performance of our system. So why do we need to update our regional system master plan? Some of the most critical key points are: we need to continue to improve and protect public and environmental health, reduce operational and business risk. Increasing risks to staff and public safety require immediate attention. Proactive mitigation strategies are essential to uphold operational integrity and public confidence. Regulatory compliance expectations are intensifying. Enhancing regulatory responsiveness and performance is critical to maintaining permits, avoiding penalties, and sustaining stakeholders' trust. Most importantly, infrastructure degradation. Regional water use system assets are showing signs of wear and tear. Deferring maintenance in aging systems threaten reliability and long-term viability. With changing needs and priorities, our environment shifts. Stakeholder expectations change, and so economic pressures are reshaping operational goals. A flexible, forward-looking strategy is needed in order for us to adapt effectively. Strategic balance. A comprehensive plan is required to balance reliability, regulatory compliance, and economic sustainability. This includes prioritizing investments, optimizing performance, and aligning with long-term organizational goals. And finally, integration of complex inputs. The volume and complexity of reports, studies, permits, and regulatory instruments continue to grow. A unified framework is needed to streamline decision-making and ensure strategic coherence. So what are the project goals? As mentioned in previous slide, one of the goals is to incorporate previously completed studies, such as water supply alternative analysis, electrical master plan, biosolids master plan, geysers and Laguna treatment plant business risk vulnerability analysis. Next, we will identify system reliability improvements. Also, guided by water supply alternative analysis, if there are opportunities for regional solution, they will be considered. In addition, based on the available information, we will provide additional condition assessment recommendations. And if needed, we will perform field condition assessment of identified assets. We then will develop a structured maintenance and replacement program. And finally, we will develop a 10-year capital improvement plan that targets high-impact projects and maximizes values with 2030 planning horizon, 2030-year planning horizon. Now I'll talk about project components. We will develop the master plan in 6 major steps. We will start with conducting business risk vulnerability assessment of the recycled water system. Then we will gather condition and performance history of the recycled water regional facility. Once we have that information, we will be able to identify our system condition and limitations. From then, we will develop system risk mitigation plan. And finally, we will develop prioritized capital improvement projects plan with detailed project description, scope, and preliminary cost. Master plan final report will conclude our efforts. Now let me address the project schedule. Our plan is to get project done within 12 months time frame by leveraging past studies, staff knowledge, performing certain tasks simultaneously, and conducting condition assessment that brings value. Now I'll switch gears and talk about the cost of the project. The total fee for the regional master plan is approximately $1.3 million. In order for us to understand if the fees are reasonable and fair for the scope, we did research and found that the fees are in line within the industry. As you can see on the slide, master plan that other agencies paid for were ranging from $1 to $5 million, depending on the scope and complexity. And as I mentioned earlier in presentation, our regional system is larger and more complex compared to other agencies. So $1.3 million fee is fair and reasonable for the scope to be performed under this contract. Moving on to the selection process. The request for proposal was issued via Planet Bid on April 10 of 2025, with a proposal deadline of May 2nd. After reaching out to our consultants and hearing their feedback, in order to attract more firms, we extended the deadline by a month. Still, only one proposal was received from CDM Smith. Staff reached out to other consultants to understand why additional proposals were not submitted. Feedback indicated that limited staff availability, the need for specialized technical expertise, and prior project commitments prevented other firms from responding within the RFP timeframe. The review panel comprised of Deputy Director Regional Water Use, Treatment Plant Superintendent, and Water Use Engineer reviewed and evaluated the proposal based on the following criteria: responsiveness to requirements, terms, and conditions of the RFP, qualification of the project team, understanding of the work to be completed, and previous experience demonstrated technical ability. CDM Smith was selected based on their specialized experience, technical capabilities, and in-depth knowledge of the regional system. While we have not done work with CDM Smith directly, Gerald, our lead project manager for this project, is very familiar with the sub-regional system, as he was the lead project manager for the geysers and Laguna Treatment Plant business risk vulnerability assessment. So we are very comfortable with his skill set and a role to lead the master planning efforts. The proposed fees were reviewed also and deemed reasonable for the scope of work as discussed earlier. So our next steps are, if PSA is approved by the board, we will get CDM Smith on board, and we will work towards completing the master plan within 12 months. And with that, it is recommended by the Contract Review Subcommittee and Santa Rosa Water Department that the Board of Public Utilities, by motion, approve project service agreement with CDM Smith to provide professional engineering services for the update to the 2018 master plan in the amount not to exceed $1,348,313. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you have any questions, our subject matter, Gerald, or me, will be happy to address them.
Very good. Thank you for your presentation. Any board member questions or comments? Board Member Mullen?
Thank you, Chair. I raised some of these questions. I'm going to ask them again at the subcommittee, contract subcommittee, when this was presented to us a couple weeks ago. The study we're undertaking, it's our previous one was about 7 years ago. Is there a mandate that we're doing this? It's just good industry practice to do it at this sort of timeline?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So I see we also did, and thank you to the staff for giving me the water supply alternatives plan. I'm still trying to catch up. And I did read it because I was rehabbing from a toe problem, and I read the entire report. Thank you for that. And so the question that I raised a few weeks ago, and I'm raising again, is how do we integrate these two master plan processes? Because we seem to be doing it in sort of a silo fashion, where 2 years ago we did the water supply master plan. Now we're doing the update on the wastewater system. But we have built such a terrific system that they're fully integrated operationally in how they serve one another and help one another. But when we do these master plans, we seem to do it sort of more focused. And in reading the water supply study, there was some discussion about recycled water use, but it seemed to focus on Lake Ralphine as an option for more storage, and cost effectively, it wasn't something that was going to work, and that was the end of it. There wasn't any discussion about searching for other storage opportunities, any collaboration with surrounding jurisdictions that are in many ways doing the same thing we're trying to do. They just don't have as good a system as we do, and theirs are much smaller scale, so money is an issue. But cost-sharing opportunities, there didn't seem to be a lot of that in the water study, exploration and so forth. And in this study as well, there are a few phrases where they talk about recycled water, but there's no, in the scope of work, there isn't a lot of detail about exploring joint use in our region, among farmers, grape growers, and other jurisdictions in our area. And I fully support the study. I understand the value of master planning because it's your roadmap as you go forward, and we have to fund it and design improvements and replacements. I understand that and support that completely. What my issue is how do we integrate the two going forward so that they come forward as a package? Because what we save on the water side can also reduce flow into the treatment plant where we have to do something with it. or vice versa. And I understand the cost considerations, but that's why I keep pushing, because every jurisdiction in the North Bay is doing the same thing, probably all over the state. The firm we've hired is a terrific firm. They're very well experienced. I read their scope, and I've looked at some of their experience. They've done water master plans, and they've done wastewater master plans, and everything in between, all over this state. And so how do we get that sort of approach where it's and I understand it's a bigger project. I understand completely. And 12 months, you could never do a double one like this in 12 months. But if it's integrated and it takes 2 years, is that possible? And then open to, and I recognize you're going to look at things and say, this is going to cost us $1 bazillion, and so we don't believe we should spend any time with that. Understood, but at least we've looked at it. And we see what other jurisdictions are. A firm like this that's done work in all these jurisdictions all over the country could help us with that, or other consultants as well. So that's my issue with the approach. And I'm not trying to stop what we're doing. I understand the value. I just want to see what the future is going to look like, so that, you know, the water supply in the river is tenuous. It has been that way for quite a while, and it's not going to get better as we go forward. So whatever we can do to either replace that demand, reduce that demand with recycle water and our conservation plans, and just sort of a collective where they work together, instead of, okay, here's the water plan and here's the wastewater plan, and they go into the shelf and you go from there. So that's my issue. Thank you.
Appreciate the comments. Director Burke, did you want to?
Thank you. And thank you, Board Member Mullen, for those questions. And I think a couple things. So typically in Santa Rosa, we do the long-range planning as efforts. We do them through different things like our incremental recycled water program, big picture, looking at that. Our water supply alternatives plan, big picture, looking at that. That plan does include the opportunity to look at future potable reuse in there as well. What we do with our master plans are strictly focusing on infrastructure, condition of infrastructure, need for replacement, capital projects. Where we have the two of those documents intertwine is when we are looking at putting together capital projects needed for the master plan. If there are potential opportunities as we're looking at long range, where we're going, long range planning for water supply, if there are opportunities to either expand upon a capital project or build a capital project in such way that it'll facilitate that in the future, that's where those will intersect. So similar with our groundwater planning, we have the opportunity where we can say, okay, can we make sure we're not putting anything in place that's going to prevent us from potentially looking at converting this in the future to a more robust groundwater supply or something of that nature. So this is strictly focusing on the infrastructure replacement, and the condition. And if there are projects that make sense that will facilitate our long-range plans that come out of those other documents, that's where they intersect.
Board Member Mullen, anything else?
Thank you, Director Burke. The integrated, the water supply alternative plan, it talked about Lake Ralphine and dismissed it economically, understood, and that was the end of it. There wasn't any reference in here to other uses or opportunities that might be explored. And looking at the scope of work for this study, there isn't that sort of discussion that says we, as a part of our planning for infrastructure and capital improvements, we looked at joint use. We looked at working with ag and seeing if they would build some storage on some of their site, and we would provide a water agreement with them for their grapes. There's no discussion in that, even a paragraph in the scope for that. That's my issue.
And we can come back or provide an update on the water supply alternatives plan. And if it's not clear, there's definitely many options that are included in there. Lake Ralphine, I believe, was looked at specifically to see if we could use those water rights as a surface water, so not for recycled water. But we will definitely, we can give an update on status, and we plan an update in the new year on implementation of that plan, because staff is actively working on that.
Thank you. Board Member DeWitt?
Yes, thank you for the comments, both by Mr. Mullen and Ms. Burke. Looking at this current project before us, I was hoping that in the scope of the work, you'll look at the ag alternatives, that you'll look at prioritizing ag above all else in a sense, because we know that the river is tenuous, as Mr. Mullen pointed out, and we in the past had ag as a big user. I'm looking at it in the future, we'll have perhaps drier years and more problematic situations. So please look at how you could prioritize agricultural and farm uses for the water and go from there. And Calpine will be able to get by, I'm sure, if you were able to work on things. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Board Member DeWitt. Any other board member questions or comments? Yes, Vice Chair Arnone.
And this is a kind of a follow-up on Director Mullen's questions. Among the project goals, the first one listed was incorporate previous studies, including the water supply alternatives analysis. Does that mean that this new master plan is going to supersede the water supply alternatives analysis and incorporate within its binders the previous water supply analysis and modify or tweak it, or are they going to remain as two separate documents? That's my question.
Thank you. So, and I apologize that I'm having to do most of the talking on this, because these are two different teams. You know, our long-range planning team is our water resources team, and that staff is not here today. So those questions are not really fair to the folks that are at the table.
All right.
So no, not from that way, meaning that it's my responsibility. Not fair for you to ask, my responsibility to answer. And so no, though they will remain separate documents, but we will use the information and the direction that's from them as we are looking to implement that document to see if it will shape any of the pieces of the master plan.
Thank you.
Other board member questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Nutt?
Thank you. I just want to say I appreciate you going through the process of looking at an operational master plan to try to incorporate what we need to do long-term to ensure the continuity of operations for the plant. While I know we talk about a bigger picture on water supply, the concept of having a facility that's operational, functional into the future, I think is critical and important, and continuing to update the efficiency and deficiencies that may exist at that plant and starting to create a long-term capital improvement is really important. So I'm excited to see this process work its way through.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the dais? All right, we'll open it up for public comment on item 8.2. If you wish to make a public comment, please move to the podium. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move it be passed.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Board Member DeWitt, seconded by Board Member Bartholow. Any further discussion? Very good. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Board Member Wright?
Aye.
Board Member Mullen?
Aye.
Board Member DeWitt?
Yes.
Board Member Bartholow?
Aye.
Board Member Badenfort?
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnone?
Aye.
And Chair Galvin?
Aye.
Let the record reflect that motion passes unanimously.
Thank you again for the presentation.
Thank you.
We'll now move to item number 9, public comments on non-agenda matters. If you wish to make a comment on a non-agenda matter, please move to the podium and state your name for the record.
May I speak? It's not up on the screen.
Go right ahead. There you go.
Well, there it goes. Okay, it's already started. Good afternoon. Thank you, Board, for your two presentations, and to the staff, both good and appreciate it. Janice Carmen here, and I want to talk about protocol of meetings and how things are working out in the meeting world as far as the public goes. And I was at a meeting last night, and this is a really important meeting in my estimation. This is a city advisory meeting. The people are very present there. They're always thinking, they're trying to figure out how to improve things, how to get more public response, people involved with the city and come up with different ideas, economic development. And previously, I'd been at one of the first meetings. I was also there when Mr. Alton, the former CFO, was thinking out loud and talking about really passionately wanting this meeting to be something that would come to fruition. So I think I've been present at all the meetings so far. And last night I went to the meeting. And at a previous meeting, Economic Development gave a very good presentation on developing downtown Santa Rosa. I also spoke about Osawa art and even a place where maybe the art could be assigned, and I've been trying to stay on top of that because it's taking a long time, the panels and the fountain. And then when it was all over, one of the board members asked, is there any funding for this project? It was about closing 4th Street and developing it as a walking street. And the answer was no. And it was so devastating to hear this at a city meeting. And last night, I go to the meeting, and everybody's, really looking forward to like having a meeting once a month, which I think they deserve to be able to do. And the answer came from Misty that there were no resources to be able to have the meeting once a month. So here is a board that is trying, really trying, and they can't even have a meeting once a month because they're told that they don't think there's going to be resources to be able to do it. That means somebody to take the minutes, somebody to bring this thing on time that goes on the window, the video, have public appear, all of it. And it's just, it's lack of leadership as far as I'm concerned. And it's the city assistant attorney was there. It was very well attended. And it's unfortunate that the public and the board have to be put through this kind of thing.
Thank you for your comments. Any other public comments on non-agenda matters? The gentleman at the podium, did you wish to speak?
Yes, please. Is this one on? Yeah. Thank you. So it's not regarding that matter, correct?
Any non-agenda matter.
Okay.
If you give us your name, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's Dale Newman. Thank you for having us, Board. I just wanted to, for you all to refer to your pamphlets I dropped there for invoice maps. And it's a one-pager we just designed for quick access to reach out if this is of interest. I'm Dale Newman again, here to introduce you to Larry, the worker bee of Invoice Maps, an AI-driven solution that automates invoices and interactive mapping design for water districts, but very capable of most municipal tasks. I realized this morning that Larry, unlike most we hire, is like getting the best, hardest working employee, just one of them, that's always ready, remembers everything, that we can teach or add new tasks to, and it won't cause any problems with HR. I'd like to offer a no-obligation presentation to see what else Larry is capable of for your city, unless we can show something on the little computer down there online, which is positivefeedback.ai on your pamphlet there. And you could see a quick video there. Larry automates invoices processing. He does accurate mapping interactively so that you can pick and pry at everything with colored situations that come up, such as non-payment, bad zones, good zones, leaks, you name it, in the utility industry. He also does this real time for most official county and state data billing systems. Works with those billing systems, works with the people. We're not replacing people, we're not replacing existing systems, though Larry can continue to operate. He is very securely built on a Harvard-trained framework, FROST. We can look into that further with the RSA rating. Why it matters to you, the significant time and cost savings from the reduced municipal data entry, improved accuracy, and faster processing of these jobs are actionable insights through integrated maps. So if you're open to a presentation, please reach out to that pamphlet below, unless, again, I can present a quick video on the screen, on the computer there. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. I would encourage you to talk to staff and see if there's anything that you guys can be sharing.
Yeah, I reached out direct to the water districts. Of course, they put me in a vendor file that's just going around and around, but we're obviously reaching out to most large municipal systems throughout California.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have no referrals. We have no written communications. We have no subcommittee reports, as far as I'm aware. Any board member reports?
I have a comment I'd like to make, please.
Okay, Mr. Board Member DeWitt.
Yes, this involves interacting with the zero waste people at the county through the purchasing, perhaps, of how water bottles are done in such a way here in California that the caps are disposed of, and they're frequently affecting creeks. I work as a creek steward, and plastic pollution is a big problem. Turns out that this company, Crystal Geyser, that's run by a French multinational corporation called CG Roxane, they actually make bottles that keep the cap on there, and they're used throughout the European Union. And it turns out that because they have those bottles available, they're also sometimes available in California jurisdictions. It would be interesting if we might be able to put that into use, find a way to perhaps advocate. And then last but not least, I have a really interesting can here. It's called Nixie, sparkling water. Comes out of Marin County. Guess where their water originates from originally? Up here, folks. An interesting concept. So I know that we can't compete with other jurisdictions on capital projects, perhaps, but if our water can be put to use and gain profits elsewhere, it would be really interesting if we could find a way to work with our Sonoma County Economic Development Department and find ways to use the water that comes out of the Sonoma County system to generate profits that could help our struggling financial situations at the city. I know that this enterprise district, it's been said by Ms. Burke, we have no problems, but times are going to get tough in the future, and it's always good to look for where you might be able to get some extra income sooner or later. And the stuff is interesting to taste. I'm not advocating for it. It's up to you. Called Nixie. All the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member DeWitt. Any other board member comments? At this time, we'll open it up for public comment on item number 13. If you wish to make a comment, please move to the podium. Seeing no one rise. Item 14, Director's Report.
I do not have a director's report, so I just want to wish you all a very happy holiday.
Very good. That concludes our agenda, so I will also echo and wish all of you and your families and the public and our ratepayers a happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you back here for our meeting on December 4th. We're adjourned.